Hello guys, I'm Neeraj from Career Care, and we have been training students on IELTS for last 5 years. Recently, we have started our new platform called IELTS to the point. We come across many students who want to score well, specifically on their writing section. And this YouTube video is basically part of that initiative where we want to reach out to you and help you write better essays, better letters, and better reports. Last year, we had more than 100 students who scored 7.5 or more bands on writing section alone. And we know you are searching online for a lot of resources for writing a good essay. There is decent material available on internet, but most of the students don't know whether what they are writing is correct or not, or how can they judge their own writing style or their own writing samples. Now, what we are going to do in this particular essay is Now, what we are going to do in this particular video is I am going to take one of the samples written by our students. I'm going to analyze it as if the IELTS examiner is analyzing that particular sample in the actual test. Right? Then we are going to discuss the basic evaluation criteria that any examiner looks for when he or she is checking IELTS essay. And after that, we are going to also try and score this task. So are you with me? Let's begin now. All right. So this is my IELTS essay task, which I am going to evaluate. The task is modern technology such as personal computers and the internet has made it possible for many people to work from their home. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this situation? Give reasons for your answer and include relevant examples from your knowledge or experience. Write at least 250 words. Now I know after reading this, students' eyes light up. It's one of the easiest essays they think. Why? Because it's talking about internet, it's talking about technology, and we keep on reading, listening, having some news in this regard every day. All right. So many people think, oh, this is a cakewalk. I am too lucky. But are you? Okay, let's analyze whether are you really lucky or not. Understand over here, what is the topic about? Modern technology such as personal computers and the internet has made it possible for many people to work from their home. See, the cause in a way is modern technology, which has enabled to work from home. And this is true for many of us, specifically when, in this situation, when COVID-19 is still rampant all over the world, we are under lockdown. This is very, very true. And it is the modern technology which has enabled us to work or to continue to work from our homes as well, right? Okay, so the question, the major problem that happens is most of the students get stuck with this particular statement. They don't even care to read the rest of the things, and that's where IELTS traps you. All right. So look at this particular question. It asks you, what are the advantages and disadvantages of this situation? See, the question is of this situation and not about what are the advantages and disadvantages of internet. Okay, so what is the situation? The situation is we are working from home thanks to this modern technology. Okay, we are working from home thanks to this modern technology. All right, so let's look at this and let's try to analyze this situation in a better way. Okay, apart from that, okay, let's read the next statement as well. It says, give reasons for your answer. Understand you must justify why do you think a particular advantage is an advantage or a particular disadvantage is a disadvantage. And then you also need to include the examples from your knowledge or experience. So let's look into that part. Okay, now it is not compulsory that you include the examples only from knowledge or only from experience. So let's go ahead and let's look at what this particular student had to write. All right, so the introduction is as follows. Technology has changed immensely the way we work. The advent of the internet and networking solutions has made it possible for people to work from their home instead of their offices. While some people are optimistic about the new trend, others have a jaundiced eye while evaluating the positives. Now let's analyze this introduction statement wise. Now what happens is the first statement very well says that technology has affected immensely the way we work. Okay, so the first good point about this introduction is the writer doesn't try too hard to impress an examiner. Okay, and the writer comes directly to the point. The point in this case is technology has affected the way we work. All right. The advent of internet and networking solutions has made it possible for people to work from their home instead of their offices. Now the writer gets into even more details, like what are the kind of technological changes that have happened and how they have actually affected us. The kind of technical or technological changes are basically advent. Advent means the beginning, the start of something, all right, or the invention of something. So basically this has the invention, the beginning of internet and networking solutions has made it possible for us to work from our homes. So the cause and effect relation is very clear in this case. After that he or she goes ahead and says that while some people are optimistic about the new trend, others have jaundiced eye. So the writer gives us a hint that in the rest of the essay we are going to look at the positives and the negatives of this particular trend. Now, when I say positives and negatives, one could anticipate its advantages and disadvantages. The good part is writer avoids using the same words or same kind of sentences from the task itself. He or she uses very different words without trying to copy what is given in the task. All right, so that's why this introduction is quite good. All right, okay. Now let's go ahead and look at body paragraph 1. Okay, let's begin with advantages. So, okay, as a reader, I know that now in this paragraph, I am going to read about the advantages. All right, so that's a good transition. Yes, there can be a bit more formal ways of introducing a particular body paragraph, but nonetheless, this is not that bad. Perhaps the biggest benefit is that people can work flexible hours, especially for women who have young children. Okay, so the first benefit that the writer talks about is the fact that people can have flexible hours, and especially the young women who have, or rather, not young women, the women who have young children, or children, just that much. Okay, so this is the first advantage, and then there is an explanation. Most of them otherwise quit their job after the birth of their children to look after them. Okay, so this is quite decent explanation, and we have already seen that you need to have a reason for what you believe in, and the reasoning is given. Many of them, that means many of these women quit their job after the birth of their children to look after them. So the reason is quite, written in a very, very good fashion. Also, you can take, since this particular reasoning is quite specific, so you could say that this could be an example from the observation or the experience of the writer. Now, I know that this is a bit weak example and the writer can give or can do much better than this, but nonetheless, I might take this as a weak example. All right. The other problem with this particular point is the fact that the writer has said young children. Now, what kind of old children have you seen? None, right? We did not say that young children are young. Obviously, if they are children, they are young. All right. So this is called as tautology. You need not know these specific terms, but it's important that you realize that you need not use two words which mean the same thing. All right. It's just repetitive, doesn't make any sense. Okay. Now let's go further. Moreover, okay, that's a linking word which tells me now I am shifting to the next advantage. Male employees also benefit from working from home as they can save hours to commute, work and home back, improving their work-life balance and overall sense of well-being. All right, great. So basically, this is quite a strong point. It has a reason. Okay, they can save time. They can save time. That's the main reason. And also, it has a simple example, smaller example, that they can save this time, which is otherwise used in commuting back and forth. And as a result of all this thing, they can have a better work-life balance. Now, this is something I want to talk about. Let's say the advantage of, the writer says the advantage is for male employees, they can save time. But what if they save time? What is the ultimate advantage of all this thing? What is the ultimate advantage or benefit for employees if they don't have to travel to office thanks to new technology and they can work from home? The ultimate advantage is their work-life balance is restored. Okay, so that's a very well developed point. Further, employees also benefit from this arrangement. Further, employers also benefit from this arrangement. When employees work from their homes, the cost of running the business comes down. All right, quite decent point over here as well. Good transition and quite well explained. Okay, let's go ahead now. Now let's come to body paragraph 2. On the other hand, there are a few challenges as well. Okay, so again, on the other hand, tells me at the beginning of the paragraph itself. Now I'm going to read the other side of the essay. The other side of the essay is disadvantages or the problems or the demerits of working from home thanks to advances in technology. Okay, all right. So let's read further. On the other hand, there are a few challenges as well. Okay, so it's very, very clear that I'm now going to read the challenges of this particular situation. Employees working from home may have difficulty building a rapport with other in their team, creating lack of coordination among themselves. Yes, absolutely. If you don't see your team often, you are going to have some issues because you may not be able to communicate that well using email or even video conferencing for that matter. When you spend some time with your colleagues, obviously you would have much better understanding than otherwise. Okay, great. Further, okay, Workers may find it difficult to get instant support from each other when problems arise, leading to total chaos in work schedules. That's a very good point, because not only this is an additional point, that there's lack of rapport or lack of coordination. It takes the same idea and even explains it in more detail. All right, what worst thing could happen, or what is the bad effect of having lack of communication, or inadequate communication at the workplace? All right, so let's go further. Worse, this lack of empathy towards each other may also be reflected towards the customer, which can lead to ultimate destruction of the reputation of the company. Now, this is a very, very good feature of this paragraph. You could say that there are 3 points, but at the same time, the author takes one idea and explains how, step by step, how this new situation may lead a company into trouble. Okay, and it uses a logical step by step explanation, along with it the details. Now these details are to the level where I can consider them as example from the knowledge, or it could be example from experience as well, but it can be the case. All right, now let's come to the end paragraph. To summarize, there are several benefits to working from home, including freedom to individual employees. Many employers have already realized this and started encouraging their workers to work from home, of course, with some precautionary measures against downfalls of lack of communication and subsequent disasters. Okay, now here is the interesting thing about this particular end paragraph. See, the author summarizes all the points discussed very, very well. Very, very well. The author tries to avoid the repetition of the words as much as possible. I'm not saying, completely it has been avoided, but to a great extent it has been avoided. At the same time, I also see that the author fails to either take a side or stay neutral, or he or she is not able to decide whether I want to take a side or not. Okay, see, the author in the introduction started that okay, there are only advantages and disadvantages, and probably we are going to discuss that. So it seemed like the author wanted to be neutral, but in the end paragraph, the author also says that employers are taking precautionary measures. Now, this particular part is a bit difficult to digest. Does that mean author is leaning towards advantages? It's not very clear, and that's an issue. That's an issue. If you start by stating or indicating that you are neutral, or you're just going to list down the advantages and disadvantages, but you end up taking a side, or at least you give a hint that probably I'm a bit towards advantages, or I'm a bit towards this particular side, then the examiner might get a bit confused regarding your final position in this particular essay, and that is a problem. That is a problem. Okay. All right. So how would we evaluate this essay? So these are, 4 criteria: task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. These are 4 criteria on which IELTS examiner is going to look at your essay, and then is going to say, or she is going to say, that you deserve these many bands in this particular essay. All right. So for each criteria, let me tell you that you are scored on the scale of 1 to 9. Okay. Has comprehended the appropriate focus and boundaries. What does that mean? It means does the person know, or the writer know, what are the focus and what are the restrictions on this essay. Okay. So Does he know the focus? Absolutely. He knows that the essay is about, people are working from home thanks to the improvement in technology. Okay, so that's very clear. Also, boundaries or restrictions on this essay. The restrictions, in a way, are advantages and disadvantages. You can't discuss anything beyond this particular thing. So, does he know or does she know? Does the writer know? So, does the writer know about these criteria or these things? Yes, it's very, very clear. The writer knows that the topic is about this and the restrictions are about this. And then, introduction announces purpose of the essay. Yes, it does to an extent, but as we said, probably the problem is with the end paragraph. Develops all points in all instructions given. Uh, to an extent, though I would say in body paragraph 1, the writer could have stuck to only 2 points rather than giving 3 points, and would have explained specifically the last point about employers in a much better way. Or he could have just or she could have just striked out one of the points and continued with the essay. That would have been better. The person would have got more time to explain that point in a better fashion. So, okay, to a great extent, the person has developed the points, but could have been a bit better explanation. He or she could have used a bit better explanation. Okay, so the next criteria is has used appropriate examples in body paragraph 1 and 2. Okay, this is where most of the students struggle. They think that when they are giving examples, they have to write for example. It's not necessary. Okay, when you give example and it's very much embedded into the points that you are making, it's also fine. And this writer has done that. So I would say to a great extent, the examples are present. Clear separation of paragraphs based on instruction. Yes, absolutely. It's completely done. It's completely done. And summarize all points in end paragraph. Yes, the person has summarized all the points in the end paragraph. Now, coherence and cohesion. Logical flow of ideas. Yes, most of the times that's the case. There is no hiccup. There's no speed breaker when I'm reading the essay. No direct or indirect repetition of ideas. Absolutely, there is no repetition of idea, no repetition of words. Now, I can't say there is no repetition of words, but I would say when I'm reading, it does not, bothers me that, okay, this person is using this word again and again. It's not like that. So I would say, okay, to a great extent, that's the case. Using connectors and linking devices appropriately, yes, absolutely. Incorrect sentence formation. There is no incorrect sentence formation over here. All right, so probably I might give about 8 over here for coherence and cohesion because most of the things are covered in this particular essay. Okay, so let's talk about the lexical resource. There repetition of words? Hardly any. Is there word precision? Most of the times. Spelling mistakes? Could not find that easily. Colloquial phrasing? Most of the times the writer has used phrasing as if a native speaker also uses. Awkward phrasing, there's hardly any that we could find. Collocations, idioms, phrases, quite decently used. I mean, the good thing is writer did not attempt and squeeze these collocations, idioms, and phrases unnecessarily. When we read many essays, we find that students, once they know that, okay, I have to ensure that there is no repetition of words, I have to ensure that there are some idioms, some, typical phrases that native speakers use, they just push in, they just try to squeeze in these things in their essays, and that's an issue. See, if you don't use them naturally, as if they are, necessary in that particular context or in that sentence to express yourself. You should not write those idioms, those words unnecessarily. If you try to squeeze in difficult words, the meaning of the sentence is going to change and you are going to be at loss. All right? Okay. So, as far as lexical resource is concerned, I might like to give about 7 or 8. Now, this depends actually a lot. Okay. But in my opinion, very frankly, if you ask me personally, and if I'm, checking this particular essay in my class, I would like to go a bit conservative. If I'm checking this particular essay in my class, or if you are one of my students, I might go, I might, if I'm checking this essay in my class, and if you are one of my students and if you have written this essay, I might be a bit conservative in this case. I might give 7 and not 8, but grammatical range and accuracy. So missing articles, punctuations, prepositions. Yes, there were few missing articles, but they did not actually affect the message in the essay. So I'm not very much worried about that part. Inappropriate capitalization, there was none. Prepositions or missing prepositions or inappropriate prepositions, hardly any. Tense errors, not really. Singular, plural error, not really. Subject verb agreement. Now uses a variety of sentence structures. Now this is something that I could have, liked to see in this essay. I would have really loved to see a better way, a better, variety of sentence structures. Although if you look from grammatical point of view, like the author is or the writer is very much capable of writing simple, complex, compound structures, but still, I would have, liked it very much if the author could have used not only but also, a variety of other sentence structures that could be there. So, yeah, probably I would have liked that. Inappropriate use of pronouns, probably there's hardly any. Again, I might go a bit conservative over here as well, and I might give 7 bands. So now let's talk about overall bands. Now, when it comes to overall bands, your bands in task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy are averaged. Now, is that true? See, if you talk to any authority in British Council, IDP, or any IELTS examiner, they just keep mum on this particular thing. Okay, so we don't know exactly that part, but if you look at most of the things that are available on internet in public domain, we can at least conclude that equal weightage is given to all these 4 criteria, and that's why we can say that these are averaged out. Okay, so again, if I want to actually project how much this essay will score, this could be 7 to 7.5 essay overall. Now, how do you improve this essay? All you have to do in this essay is focus on task response. If you can explain only 2 points in body paragraph 1 with much better example or even better example, this can go up to 9. Okay, so with average lexical resource, with average grammatical range and accuracy, if this becomes 9, task response becomes 9, because now you have everything. The only reason I cut 2 bands on task response in this case is because I thought the person could have explained the points in a better fashion and the examples could have been a bit better and the position could have been much clearer. If that happens, and instead of 7, you get 9 out of 9 on task response, then your average becomes 7.75, which means your essay comes in the range of 7.5 to 8. Okay, so without working on vocabulary, without working on grammar, you can improve your bands by at least 0.5 just by taking care of task response and coherence and cohesion. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube, subscribe to our channel because we are going to post many such videos which will help your IELTS preparation. Also, we are going to conduct a masterclass for IELTS Writing Task 2, that is essay writing, on 28th of June. Check the link in the description to know more about it. And if you have any questions, you can always go to IELTS-to-the-point.com. That's IELTS-to-the-point.com. Thank you.